Boom! Yes, folks, you me again. Now we're going. So CXC results out. CXC results out and bad. If I could co-opt some youth terminology, right? And everybody going through the motions of getting the results and whatnot and whatnot. So we have this thing on the grade slip where in the higher regions, in the upper regions of the grade slip, must have about the second or the third line somewhere thereabouts, there's this thing module 1, and you realize it's something about maths, right? Module 1, and then you have the profiles on the other end, on the other side of the grade slip. And then lower down on the same grade slip, you have mathematics, and then you have the grade as you're normally accustomed to seeing it, 1, 2, 3 going down the road. And then you have the profile on the other side of the page in the same line. Simple advice at this stage, ignore the module. Ignore the module, right? The only thing that you are to take as meaning anything at this point in time would be your grade in mathematics as indicated in the lower part of your grade slip. That is what you're accustomed getting over the years. That is what it is. All right? In terms of what the module thing is about, the simple explanation which I will give now, we will give the details as we go along a little later. The simple explanation is that CXC is in the process, as we speak, of transitioning to a new syllabus in 2027. Right? There will be a couple options. I think it's about 3 options. Right? You have the regular option of doing the full long paper, as we like to call it. Paper 2 with a paper 1 and a paper 3. Boom! Of course, they have made some structural changes to the paper 2. We will discuss that in future videos. Right? There are other options. Students now have the option of doing 1 module at a time. So instead of studying for the whole year to do the whole exam, students could do module 1, and then they could do module 2 at some other point later on, and then they could do module 3 at another point. I think the rationale behind that is to facilitate private students in particular, who, unlike the school students, they would be dealing with the realities of adult life, working, family, children, some of them taking care of parents, shift change, long shift, offshore, right? All of the above. So I think what it is there is that they're trying to facilitate those people by basically chopping up the exam into 3 modules, where you could do 1, then do 2, and then do 3. And then at the end of the 3rd module, you get your grade accordingly. You will get your scores for each module, but that wouldn't be a grade, right? The grade will come at the end of the 3rd module, as I understand it. I am still in the process of going through the documents. You know how these things are. A lot of paperwork and a lot of reading, etc., etc., etc. You really have to take your time to understand the thing, right? So that module thing there, I believe, is CXC giving it a dry run, a test run, so to speak. They give you a regular grade and they say, here what? Let us try to get a sense of what this student's performance would have been in module 1. And they give you a grade for module 1. So maybe it's a preview, a sample of what your grade would be like if instead of doing the whole exam, you did 1 module alone. So in other words, you're getting a chance to see what your grades will look like for students who choose the modular option. That is all it is. Nothing more. All right? Now, with respect to how that would play out in the registration, that is left to be seen. Because as of now, you register for the maths exam, you register for the maths exam, punto final. That's all it is. Now, when you're registering, there may be an extra layer to the registration where you have to decide if you're doing module 1, or if you're doing module 1 and 2 together, or if you're doing the whole exam, which will be module 1, 2, and 3. Right? So you could do one module at a time, you could do the first 2 modules, or you could do all 3 modules, which would be the whole exam as you are accustomed to doing it. So those things are left to be seen when the registration comes up September, October, right? That'll be a whole different kettle of fish. So you know how these things turn out here in the Caribbean. At some level, it always seems to involve some kind of bacchanal and some kind of confusion. I am already seeing the potential for a whole lot of understanding and misunderstanding. But we could deal with that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. As of now, for the people who get in the grade slip in maths, ignore the modules. That's basically it. We will deal with the details of that later. Focus on your grade. Your grade is what it is. And whatever it is you're using your grade for, as you would have been accustomed to doing from ever since, you just continue going as normal. All right? So don't worry about the module. Focus on your grade. End of discussion. We will have more discussions later on.